Hello, hello, and good evening. So, it is Wellness Wednesday. And how has everybody been enjoying their Wednesday thus far? That's what I would like to know. I have had a busy I've been pretty busy. Just in terms of I got product in today, so I'm shipping out product to people first thing in the morning. So I've been getting orders put together. I've been trying to answer some questions for people. I have been trying to keep myself mentally positive as well as emotionally positive. And not that I've been feeling like sad or anything like that, but I know it can happen. So in my preventive measures, just trying to stay on top of the things that I like or that I enjoy in a way that will not allow me to, just get caught up in the wrong thoughts or the negative thoughts. Here we go with this again. Let me turn this off. I'm sorry, you guys. I always wait until it makes the first round of noise and then I want to turn it off, right? So this is our Wellness Wednesday conversation, and I am live on Facebook on my personal page and not my Trichology page today because I want to encourage everybody to follow my Trichology page. It doesn't have half the followers that my Hey Ernest, that my personal page has, and I've been getting a lot of new friend requests too, so that's why I wanted to come on here and put out there to follow my Asha's Trichology page so that you'll be able to get the information. So Ernest is my little big cousin. He's much bigger than me, but he's much younger than me. He's my little brother's twin cousin, so they were born the same exact day. So yes, Ernest is Ernest, how tall are you? Like 6'5"? Yeah, like Ernest is much bigger than me. But anyway, so I'm happy to see that he's on here. So, Wellness Wednesday. What are we doing to keep ourselves well? So I want us to be in tune with what that means. Like, we're in the house all day, every day. We're with each other. Some of us are driving each other crazy. Some of us not so much. Some of us, it's pretty cool. I have the wonderful pleasure of not having anybody to necessarily drive me crazy in my house. But, it gets interesting. The phone works. I've had to hang up on a few people, It's just what it is. And it's family. But so, you love them. We love them dearly. But sometimes we just have to find what our happy place is. And we have to learn how to live in our happy place. We have to learn how to allow our happy place to stay happy. So I've been coloring. I should have brought my coloring book over here so I could show you guys like what I've been coloring. He said yes, 6'5". So with that being said, I've been coloring. I have a puzzle. I haven't started putting my puzzle together because I don't want to put it like it's the only one I have. And I've inquired about getting some puzzles and nobody else has puzzles. So I know once I put this puzzle together, that's the end of it. So I'm like savoring it like that last cookie. Like you don't want to eat all your cookies too fast and then you don't have any more. So it's little things like that we can do. That maybe it's something that you really, really wanted to get done and you just really haven't had the time to, and now you have. I have had the enjoyment and the pleasure of really pushing myself to do some things that I should have done a long time ago, and I just, for whatever reason, like I always have these wonderful ideas and I'm all about to write it down, so it's already written in paper. The craziest part about it is I thought I had to go type it up on my computer, and after I typed it up on my computer asked me like, so am I saving this version to replace the old version? Like I already typed it up too. I just needed to execute what the paper says. Coloring books are highly therapeutic. Yes, they are. So it's funny that you said that. So I'm going to tap on that because I used to be an educator with L'Oreal, specifically with Mazzani, for 12 years. And so after, I want to say 10 years, we end up getting a new director. So, of course, when you have a 10-year relationship with somebody and somebody else comes in, you just kind of like, okay, let's see what they're going to do. Like, we're going to give you a chance, but we really missed, like, our old director. Like, she was just such a pure gem. And she's the type of lady that, like, when you were a kid and your mom has a friend and you like, oh, I want to be like her when I grow up. Like, she's that person. So it's like somebody new coming in. It's like, okay, you can't be mean to the new lady. It's like the stepmother, right? And you like, she ain't gonna replace my mother, but let's see what she's about. So with that being said, our new director came in and she brought us coloring books. Like, she mailed us coloring books and color pencils to go with these coloring books. And so, of course, everybody's kind of like, what are we supposed to do with this? And I tell you, I didn't color every page in that book. And now I'm like coloring up a storm in that book, as well as I had to go buy myself some other books too. I had to go get my Crayola color pencils on. I had to, because you got to expand your color. So I think I'm going to have to order some more too, because it's not enough colors in that box I have. And it's like, it's a lot, but I want more. You need more, especially if you're going to be coloring. You need more options. Color is my thing. Like, I absolutely love color. And that was one of my reasons for leaving L'Oreal. Not because I didn't like it, but I just wanted to expand my educational platform for myself as an educator in the wonderful world of color. So when it came to that, that's what I needed to do to help me to grow. And that was a wellness thing for me. It was a very nervous decision to make. Like I said, after 12 years, and it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And it wasn't broke, and I didn't fix it. I just advanced. I now get to talk about the subject that makes me happier. Like, I get super excited every time I'm teaching a class, every time I get to go out. So when we talk about Wellness Wednesday, like, we really have to think about those things that have to do with our personal wellness. Like I said, I loved what I do. I miss my people over there in Mazzani. Like, we always sending each other little messages like, I miss you. Like, we keep up with each other, but I don't have any regrets. And that was my biggest hesitation in leaving, because it took me over a year to decide that I wanted to leave. Like, the company I work with, I absolutely love them. They absolutely love me. And I was resisting this for about a year and a half. And my biggest thing was, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't making the wrong decision. But I did not make a wrong decision. I do not regret the decision that I made. And it was because it's what I needed to do for my personal advancement. So while we're in the house, while we are just all this extra time on our hands, think about what you need to do for your personal advancement. What is it that you need to help yourself be well mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like in all aspects? Think about what you personally need for that to be a real thing. Because when we're talking about wellness, you have to talk about it in its entirety, not just one component of it. It's not just what you eat. What you eat is definitely going to play a component in that. Last week I mentioned that, food is how we're going to be able to heal ourselves. It's going to be how we're going to be able to hurt ourselves. So we in the house and we're eating everything in the house. So we're just cognizant of how the food makes us feel, what foods we're nourishing our bodies with. Like, some foods you're going to learn, like, they actually, hey, Katuska. So Katuska is one of my old Mazzani teammates too. Her and I, this girl is like a ball of fun. Like, I miss you, Katuska. So anytime you with Katuska, it's a party. It's like, if the girl is having a bad day, like, she could literally be going through it, but she's like, look, we not getting ready to sit here and feel sorry for ourselves, girl. We having fun. So, and that's what it has to be. Like, you cannot throw yourself a pity party. So do not sit in the house and do not feel sorry for yourself, because guess what? We are all going through this at the same time. Like, we're all having to endure the same thing. So when you start to, and I'm not negating feelings, because don't get me wrong, I'm in here by myself. And as much as I love being in here by myself, at the end of the day, I'm still in here by myself. So I told my sister the other day, I said, look, yes, I am in here talking to myself. I'm like, if I drop something on the floor, I'll be like, really? Did you just really fall? But you know why? Because if I'm not on here talking to you guys, like, who am I talking to if I'm not on the phone? I'm just going to be quiet all day long unless I'm talking on the phone? No. So, I mean, you just got to live a little. I think about funny jokes to myself. And sometimes, you think about this funny joke and you just kind of like, you thinking about it. It's like, it's okay to laugh out loud. It's okay to be a person. So, with that being said, you just have to find what is going to be good for you. You have to decide that you're going to live in your positive space. Whatever you need to help you for your wellness, that's what you do. And that's why I'm like so super excited that Katuska's on here, because she's always a just positive person. So Ernest said, I've honestly learned that empathy in me has to apply to myself as well. I could write a book about these recent journeys via these new circumstances. But as you said, no pity party, just realizing a lot and applying them. Yeah, it's like this is happening to everybody. And I mentioned it before, like, I'm at home. They sent me home. The salon is closed. People, text me like, when is it going to open? I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's giving me a comeback date. We don't have one. We're sitting ducks. But I can't sit in here like, I like hair. So I'm going to come on here and I'm going to share with y'all what knowledge I have. I'm going to share with you what information I have. I'm going to share with you what products I have. I'm going to try to make your journey as well as can be. Because when you are just sitting in the house and you just thinking about your own situation, that's sometimes throwing yourself a pity party. Because you're just only reveling in where you are in the moment. Think about where you want to be when you come up out the house. Help yourself to get to that place. Help yourself to get to that space. Okay, so it's like, for some people, they're like, okay, so what's the first place you want to go? What's the first thing you want to do? What about some of those things that you've always wanted to do? What about some of those things that you just didn't have the time to do? Because me coming on live is something that I said I was going to do a long time ago. And every now and again, every blue moon, I'll come on a live. I have lives that I did a year ago that I've come on live before. I come on live. I think Periscope was the first place where I saw this. And I did a couple of Periscopes. But, hey, so it wasn't a matter of me not wanting to do this or me just not seeing the benefit of doing it. It was the fact that I kept putting it off. It's like, I don't have time. Like think about it. Okay, so it's Wednesday, right? So normally I might be at the salon on a Wednesday evening. I might be finishing up. It's nice outside. I got friends. We live close by. Like, we figuring out what we want to do. We having a good time. And I'm doing everything but a live. It doesn't take that long to do a live. It's not something that I could not have done. I just did not make it something of importance. So that's why I'm like, I want to come on here and I want to be able to share information. Every Wednesday that we are quarantined, I'm going to do a Wellness Wednesday. Now, when we get back into the action of life, when we're doing all that, I'm not going to come on every Wednesday because every Wednesday is not being realistic. But I will put out there when I'm going to come on, because I'm going to come on at least once a month and do a Wellness Wednesday. I'm going to come on at least once a month and do a Texture Talk Tuesday. I want to come on at least once a month and do a Asha's coaching. So these are things that I'm going to put it on my calendar to do. I'm going to share that information. I'm going to put it out there. I have been really brewing and stewing some really exciting things in here to you guys. Like I said, I love coming up with ideas of stuff, and I write it on paper. So for all of my colleagues, all my professionals, all my creatives, I want you to know that I'm going to be doing some really, really neat things with some more of my colleagues so that we can really help each other to have the business structure that we should have, to be set up and actually making this thing a little bit better for ourselves. Now, in the whole wide world, in the history of putting stuff together, nobody could ever prepare that the whole world was just going to be shut down. You're going to be sitting in the house and you're just not going to be working. Like, that kind of preparation, like, nobody could have foresaw. However, I do know that within my industry, this is an 80-20 industry. So what does that mean? Well, it's wild to me because there are memes that be like, when you realize quarantine is your lifestyle, I do my best to understand everyone isn't truly an introvert, but I'm still human. This process has shown me that communication with loved ones matter. I like that you're doing this. Thank you for that, Ernest. So I'm live on Instagram and I'm live on Facebook. So this is why I read it out loud for everybody on my Instagram. They can also know what's being said. But so Ernest is my cousin, and with that being said, it's so true. It's just one of those things where it's like you have to understand that you can't get stuck where you are. Structure is the key. Yes, it's all about structure. And so just create some type of structure for yourself. Now, at the same time I'm saying create structure, I'm also saying for those that maybe have been working way too hard and you needed to sit down and you needed a breather and you needed to step back, take advantage of that too. Don't put so much structure in the day of being in a house that it's like, girl, did you really get to relax? Or boy, or man, or dog, whatever. But create some sort of a structure, because if you just sitting in the house watching TV all day, you're not going to feel good about yourself that you sat on the couch all day, every day watching TV. Because one of my ideas that I have about watching TV all day as well, everybody on TV is making money. The ones you can see and the ones you can't see. The cameraman holding the camera, the person who did the edits, the person who wrote the script, the person operating the teleprompter that the person's reading from. Like, everybody in the aspect of television, they made some money. Now, how much money did I make by watching them? And I'm not saying not to watch TV. I'm just saying you have to also put in a level of some productivity for yourself. And then that's going to help your wellness. So enjoy every single day. Get a coloring book. Get a book that you want to read. And when I say get a book that you want to read, have a book that you read for enjoyment, but then have a book that is going to pour into you as well. So read a book on a subject that you want to know some more about. Something that you wanted to educate yourself on a little bit more about. Read a book on it. That's going to be beneficial, because now you're actually putting that into yourself on a whole nother level. When we're watching YouTube, yes, it's informational. Yes, you're learning something. Yes, it might be a DIY video. But guess what? You're just watching it. If you read a book on it, the information is going to stick with you longer. The information is going to be deeper ingrained into you. So if you get a book in these days, you don't have to get the book. You could pick up the phone and get an app, the tablet, and you can read it on there. So you don't even have to worry about you can't get to the book. Everything is accessible. That's the best part about this quarantine, you guys. You realize we're in 2020. If this was 1986, we don't have anything connected to, we would have had one house phone. Maybe you got two house phones in your house, right? Because as a teenager, I had my own phone in my room, right? But everybody has to talk on that one phone. Think about back then, we didn't have call waiting, so you didn't even know who was on the other line. Then when we got call waiting, it's like, well, do I want to click over for that person? Then we got call wait and call ID, right? So now we knew who it was. And it's like, if you ignore them one too many times, now they know that you ignoring them one too many times. It's like your mother's friend keep calling and you trying to have a conversation and you've been waiting for this tea all day. It's just all of these little things that 2020 gives us how to still tap into life outside of the home while we're sitting in the house. We can order food. We can have it delivered. We can do so many things. We can pull up a book online. We can do so many things. We can be talking on the phone with one friend and texting another while we sending an email to our job. Thank you. It's like TV. I love documentaries. I also love stand-up comedy, but reading is more impactful. That is so true. And let me tell y'all why I love like books. So, you know, especially when you was a kid and somebody's like, oh, they have a book to that. And you say, oh, did you read the book? And they're like, the book is always better than the movie. Because the book tells you everything. So the scene comes on in the movie and there's a chair in the corner. It's a girl crying and you hear the sniffling from the cries. And there's a little bit of sunlight coming in, right? And then there's a little itty bitty something going on in the corner. Like maybe there's a mouse moving in the corner. And you know, maybe we're looking at deep into the screen and we see all of that. Maybe we don't. But when you read the book, you can't miss the details because the picture is painted from you. When they say the chair is red in the book, your mind tells you what shade of red. When you're watching the movie, you might see the chair and be like, okay, whatever. But you don't realize that the significance of the chair being red is important until later on. And you watching it with a friend or a sister or whoever, and they're like, girl, no, remember the red chair? And you like, the chair was red? Like, some stuff you're going to catch, some stuff you're not going to catch. The book's not going to let you miss anything. But the reason why is because you read it. You read it, it's stuck in you. It's there. So get a book that you enjoy. Get a book that's going to be informative. And again, Wellness Wednesday, it's all about, you have to figure out what's going to be best for your personal wellness. You have to decide, what do you need so that you can be content while you're inside. Because outside will open again. How soon, how fast, we're not sure. But we know that we have to do something to take care of ourselves, because we just cannot rely on anybody else to do it. And a lot of times that's our biggest issue, is we are looking for somebody else to hold the key to our contentment or our happiness. Right now, you don't have to be happy with being in the house, but just find your contentment. Get to that place that you can be content in. If you are the person that likes to run the streets, create that in your headspace. Like, create that, what that's going to look like the next time you go out. Like, create who you want to see, how you want to do that, in what order. Create all of that. Write it down, map it out. But you know, I think something else that we really need to take away and we need to learn from all of this is being financially well. I think that's a big piece of the conversation that we need to have. And when I say we, I mean as a people. I mean as an industry. You know, my industry is creatives. And this is an 80-20 industry. 20% of the people make 80% of the money. That's why you have some hairstylists. Oh, they got a nice big old mansion. And you have some hairstylists, and she can barely pay the note on that Corolla. And I'm just being honest. And it's like, well, don't you do the same thing? And to be honest with you guys, it's not always based on like, oh, well, because she does a better job than her. Because let me be the one that told you. That is not the determining factor when it comes to making money in this industry. It's not. It's about, you have to treat it like a business. You know, a lot of people, they hustlers. And you know, the hustle is going to get you some money in your pocket. It's going to get you something, but it's not going to get you longevity. Anything that's a hustle, it's about getting in on when the getting is good, and it's about jumping in and jumping out. And I think if nothing else, this pandemic, and I don't care what industry you're in, I think it's really teaching us that our financial wellness is important. I'm a black woman. So I got to speak to black people everywhere. Black people as a whole, we have not started out with the vantage point of being financially stable. But now we're in a place to where becoming financially stable is not half as hard as it was for the generations that preceded us. And I think we have to start to pay attention to that. And I think we have to really start to act on it. And I say that from a place of, I am always willing to be helpful. I'm always willing to be helpful. So I have to say that I've been fortunate enough that I've grown up around people. I've seen other people. And when I say that, I'm not talking about my parents, because I love my parents dearly. Just because the people that surrounded me growing up as a child, helped me to understand that being financially stable is important. Now, did that mean that I was just going to be financially stable? No. I had to pay attention. I had to put things in parameters. I had to really, in my headspace, I had to get there. Meaning, I have to be able to listen to people and what they're saying and what they're telling me. Because as we speak now today, it's one of those things where I'm always asking somebody that is, hey, this is my opinion on the matter, okay? Let me just tell y'all this. If I want to know how to do something, I'm going to ask a millionaire. Because guess what? Clearly they did something right, okay? So that's who I'm going to ask. So if you just as broke as me, there's certain things we're going to share with each other. Yes, we're going to share with each other. But I'm not going to follow the footsteps of somebody who's not in the place where I want to be. Because that makes no sense. And I think that sometimes that's what we're doing, or that's what we're using as guidelines or parameters to make decisions. We have a serious problem when it comes to keeping up with the Joneses, because we think the Joneses got and they don't got. That's just smoke and mirrors. And it's what you don't see that's the most important financial decisions that you're going to be able to make. So being that I'm in the beauty industry, you're not going to make it in this industry if you don't set yourself up for the long term. It's why you say that. So this happened, and I assume my typing would decrease financially. It's been the best thing to ever happen to me, but my rapport matters to individuals. It's wild. Exactly. So when we are thinking about where we want to be financially, I want us to think about where we want to be financially at the age of 60. Because right now in this younger generation, they think about what they want to look like financially at 21. Yes, 21 is the time to live your best life to a degree. So I have this theory. I just have this theory. I feel like as a teenager and in your early 20s, you should live your best broke life ever. Meaning you should be able to enjoy life's moments. But understand that you broke and enjoy that too. Because that gives you something to strive for. Because when you look back when you in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, and you're not broke anymore, you can appreciate that. But if you're out here trying to live this lavish lifestyle at the age of 25, you might fool another 18-year-old. You can't fool. You're not fooling anybody else. Because who cares if you 25 in a Rolls Royce? Can you still drive a Rolls Royce when you 45? Like if you trick somebody into it, or you had it for 10 minutes, or you slept with a millionaire, that's not where we want to be. That's not what we want to be. Because it's plenty of old people running around talking about what they used to be. But look at the old people that you look at and you like, wow, I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to be like her when I grow up. That's what I want you to strive for, because that's what's going to matter the most. So when we're talking about Wellness Wednesday, I'm talking about being well in every way. So financial stability does not look like you got a new car every 2 to 3 years. Financial stability does not look like you stunting in your red bottoms on Instagram. That's not what it looks like. That looks like, try again. When we sit in the house and we don't have a stress in the world. And when I say sitting in the house, because the goal really is for everybody, to get to an age in life that you're not so broke down, that your back, your knees, you cannot even travel, you cannot even go anywhere, but you still get to live comfortably. I want to be able to shoot a video like in the Step Brothers movie, Boats and Hoes Wreck the Boat. And it doesn't matter. These are my age 60 goals. Don't cuss me out. So no. If that's what you want to be at 60, you want to be on the boat and you want to be young and you want to be living it up, I say that's what you need to strive for. Because owning a boat, okay, That means you financially stable if you know you got everything in place and now you got a boat that you could just go out on the water. Yes, I'm with you, Ernest. I'm going to be on the boat too. Now, some of these other chicks might not be on that boat with us, but we're going to get on this boat together. Like, I want to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm going out on the boat with my little cousin. These are the things I'm talking about. And that's what it is. That's why I encourage that, because who does not want to be able to enjoy life? You don't want to have to stress about these things. There are millionaires that are stressing right now, you guys. Let me say that again. There are millionaires that are stressing right now. I want us to be financially stable. I want us to be in a position to where we are not living paycheck to paycheck, pillar to post. And that doesn't mean, oh, it's because this or she got this because of that or something. No, it means because we have to make better decisions. If you only take $10, and you putting it towards your retirement, you putting it towards your whatever it is, it looks so much better that you took that $10. If you walk into a dealership and you can pay for your car when you're 65 and you want a new car and now you don't have a car note, let me tell y'all, I don't make these things up. I get these things from people that I've actually seen do it. So I have a client. She's an older lady. She worked. She had a good job when she worked. She was married to a husband that had a good job too. But she also made some sound financial decisions. So, she comes and gets her hair done weekly because that's what it is. Now, she's retired. It's like, I need my hair done every week. She's still able to maintain and get her hair done every week. She pays to get her hair done and she tips. So, she's not cheap either because, sometimes, and I'm not saying this to discourage, but to encourage. So she's like, I want a new car. And I'm like, oh, okay, get you a new car. So she was like, She said, I know what I want too. So I'm like, okay, so we talking and everything. So she bought a new car. She took and cashed in some of her stock. Now, granted, this is before the stock and all that. This was not in the year 2020. Okay, you guys, it was in the year 2019, earlier in the year of 2019. And she bought herself the car she wanted brand new. She has no car note. She has no worries. She is able to, live comfortably because that's the way she set herself up. We're going to be retarded just having fun. My point was I don't want certain concerns. I just want a boat. I want to be able to treat that boat as if a piece of food that falls on the floor and doesn't really matter. No, you don't want to treat your boat like that because your boat's still an asset. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, as Black people, we always feel like, we want to get to this unrealistic place. I want us to live in a realistic place. I want you to know that your boat is an asset. And I want you to put yourself in a position for your boat to be an asset. Like, anybody that wants a boat, like, yes, if that's what you want, if you want this car, if you want these pair of shoes, whatever you want, but I want you to be able to pay for it several times over when you go to buy it. That's what I want us to take away from being financially stable. It's not that you can't get these things, but I just want you to understand and to know that if you're able to go into a dealership and you're going to pay cash for the car, you don't even understand that when you are not trying to haggle and go back and forth with the finance department and they're going to try, they're just about going to be giving you the car. You want them to be calling you like, hey. But we can't do that if we think that going to wherever we go to spend $50, that at the end of the day, if I asked you what you spent the $50 on, you don't even know what you spent it on. And then when somebody says you should put $20 to the side every week for this or that, you are like, Ernest said, insurance matters too. Yes, it does. But I have 2 disabilities insurance. I can't collect on that. It's nothing wrong with me. I told my sister, I said, you need to break my hand. Just in a joking way. But I'm like, I need to collect something from somewhere. It's like, yes, we can put these things into play. But at the same time, I can sit here in my house and I can smile with you guys because I'm not stressed about where my next meal is going to come from. But I know that there are a lot of people that are. And that's why I have to put it out there that when we're talking about Wellness Wednesday, I want us to talk about our financial wellness. We all do it. It doesn't matter if you the person making $2.14 an hour as a waitress. You have to have the mentality that you're going to be putting money up for a rainy day, that you're going to be investing money into your longevity. You have to, when it's time to file your taxes, you have to know that if you decide to run a business, anybody in any kind of multi-level marketing, where do you store those products at? If it's a closet, get the square footage. Get the square footage and write it off on your taxes. For all of my hairstylists, when you are purchasing product for retail, and a lot of us are not, but when you are, because hopefully right now, you are, because that's income that you could be making right now. Don't get taxed double on it. Understand what that looks like when you're sitting down with an accountant. Oh, do you even have an accountant? Like, who's in charge of your taxes? Any of my creatives out there, I hope you don't go to H&R Block. Like, I hope that you have that tax consultant, that person that you checking in with all throughout the year. Like, y'all constantly having a conversation, that they're actually telling you which way you need to go. Like, I want all of us to be able to really put ourselves in a different financial space, because that financial space is what's making the difference right now. Oprah Winfrey was on the Today Show the other day, and the thing about it was she was having a conversation with Hoda, and basically she told Hoda, she said, you know, the numbers are increasing in the African American community. And I think we can all remember in the beginning, it was like, girl, black people not getting COVID. Like, black people don't catch corona. Well, now look at what they're saying about the numbers about black people catching corona. And the real thing to that is this. And this is what Oprah said. Yeah, but black people are also the people that got to go to work every day. Black people are not the ones with the jobs that are telecommuting. Black people are the ones actually standing in front of you at the grocery store. Like, we are the ones working those jobs where we're still risking our lives in every component of this. This is what our reality is. You were working at Publix, you were working at any grocery store, you working at the I'm blessed in a similar way. What do you think those that aren't need to hear? You already touching on that as I type this in. Yeah. So yes, it's a matter of when we are talking about being financially stable, we have to take the conversation from ground one. Like I said, I'm always willing to share. And I'm willing to share because I have been fortunate enough that I am able to talk to people that have had that walk in life. I'm able enough to have the conversation. I have people that I can call on the phone and I can say, hey, how does this go? Or what should I do with this? How should I do with that? And I'm able to get that information. But I realize that that's not information that everybody just gets. And I'll share with you guys that, you know, when it comes to that, my parents kind of enabled me to have a circle of people around me that was in this positive place. My parents, they didn't grow up that way. They don't really even know a whole lot about it. So now, as the roles have flipped in reverse, I'm teaching them a lot of financial things. I'm able to share and help them. And I also see how things are going for them and the things that they've already done, how they're working. So it's like each one teach one. That's what we have to do. And sometimes when we start talking finances and money, people get hush hush. People don't want to share so much. People are not so open and honest. Like, you know, when it's like you're the one that got it, it's like, well, I don't want to tell them because then if too many people do it, that's the wrong attitude to have. I want us to have an each one teach one attitude. But with that, I share with you guys, I got a lot of good things brewing and stewing. I am putting together a really cool educational package for all of my creatives. It's going to be an awesome I don't even know what to call it at this point, but it's going to be a package, and it's really going to help you to really create your business, your brand, your finances from A to Z. I mean, we're going to take you from the beginning of doing hair all the way to your exit strategy, because this is an industry that got hit hard. Like, our package didn't roll out from the government till just last week. So everybody else knew what they were going to do. They just said, oh, I got something for you last week, and we already been in the house. So we really have to look out for us and our own, because they shut us down, and they just like shut us down. And as much as people sometimes be literally like, oh, you do hair? It's like, yep, oh, I do hair. But that's because of the way we treat our industry. People can't treat you better than you treat yourself. So when we're talking Wellness Wednesday, I need you guys to also understand that you have to start with you. That's in a relationship. That's with anything. If you don't treat you good, how is somebody else going to treat you good? If you don't respect you, how is somebody else going to respect you? And you teach people how to treat you. If I allow somebody to talk to me disrespectfully, they're going to talk to me disrespectfully. Like, anybody could try it once, but when you nip it in the bud, we cut that down. Yep. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to give you a minute because you don't know no better, but don't ever do it again. And that's as simple as it has to be. We don't have to go, all the way into left field. We don't have to be too extra about it. We don't have to be disrespectful, but you just need to let a person know, like, I don't accept that. Like, I understand this may be part of your personality. I understand this is how you may do things, but it's not my way. So I don't accept that. I don't accept it from you. And so I'm going to ask you to just recant your statement or try again or something. But it's what we're going to have to do. We have to create our standards. What is it that you need for your own wellness? That's what I want us to take away today. And that's what I want us to share even with others. Because maybe it's an activity that we sit around and we do on a piece of paper with friends, with family, however. And make a list of what it is that you need. Because now you can share with somebody exactly what you need. So a good book that I had as my book club book, and I haven't done book club in probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years. But a good book that can be helpful with that is, and I don't remember the exact name of it, but it talks about love languages. And it's like, what is your love language? And when you can identify what your love language is, and maybe some of your other family members, friends, even being in a relationship, just knowing what your love language is, it helps you to interact with people better. So basically, your love language is that language that speaks to you in a loving way. So some people really need a lot of reassurance, meaning some people just need you to get to the point. Like, a person just might come in a room and be like, can you do this for me? And the other person is looking at them like, well, good morning to you too. Like, they need the good morning. Now, somebody else may not need the good morning, but you still might need to give the good morning. And what it is that the good morning allows you to speak to their love language, whereas the other person may be like, I don't need that. I may need you to pat me on the back. Like, I may need you to actually give me the pat on the back. You might not have to say it. And it's like, okay, now I heard what you said. But that's what the book is about. It's about helping you to understand what it is that you respond best to. And when you know what the people that you're talking to respond best to, then there you have it. So it's like that cheat sheet of knowing how to stroke their ego rather. So just understanding people better is a good thing. I know a lot of people are cooped up in the house with other people. If you come from a big family, it's like you have to understand what the other person is needing from you. Because if you overlook it and you only caught up in what you like and what you want, oh, y'all ain't never going to get along. I come from a big family. My mother is one of 9 children, so I have a whole lot of cousins. And I have quite a few siblings as well. And that's one of the things. It's like when you know what a person needs, that's what you have to speak to. And when you speak to that, the person can't hear you. If you only speaking to what you want to do, they can't hear you, and they're going to tune you out even faster, because it's like, so you're not talking to me. And we've all heard that expression before, when the person say, oh, you're not talking to me, and you looking like, oh, yes, I am. It's like, no, what they're telling you is your response to me, your reaction to me, the way you coming at me, I don't acknowledge you. Regardless if we think it's right or wrong, it's wrong to them. And you're talking to them. You want them to respond to you. So again, it goes the other way. You have to teach people what you need from them, what it is that you need from them. And if we can do this without snarkiness or animosity, because I tell you, I'm very sarcastic, and my father is Mr. Sarcasm. Like, so I got it, honestly. Like, I grew up with it. It doesn't mean anything to me. I had to learn Thug Mom. She had to learn me, but learning has been super beneficial. So my cousin Ernest, he refers to his mother as Thug Mom. And I laugh so much every time I see this, because he'll post pictures of her and everything. So she's my cousin too, my cousin Kim. And Ernest, I tell you, like, our mothers are cousins. So yes, that is, I laugh because I can use that phrase for my mom. So what I always say about my mom, I'll be like, she a project chick. Like, she's a project chick. But that's the thing. It's like you had to learn her. And I don't know that my mother is always so open to the learning process. So that's what you have to understand too, is that even if they don't want to learn you so much, or they don't want to respond to you, you have to put it in a space for yourself. So that's where sometimes her and I, we clash a lot on that, because I'm like, you know, I don't like that, but you did it anyway. And she's like, I'm not paying attention to that. So of course her dismissal is like, okay, I'm clearly telling her, and she's clearly not going to listen. So I have to decide how I'm going to live in that space of somebody who's negating what I'm saying, right? Because I'm a grown woman, so I have to approach this. I have to answer this in an adult way, because acting out or just being in an angry space, or that's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. Forget her. It's not going to work for me, because I'm going to be the one that's all messed up in the head. She going to be just fine. Because, yeah, when they got that thug thing down, and you know thugs don't care, and they don't. But when you know what you're dealing with, when you know what you're working with, when you know what the love language is, now you know how to respond. Hey, Sonya. So, yeah, it becomes a matter of really understanding what it's going to be for you and your wellness. So, Wellness Wednesday is today. The biggest thing I want us to take away is what we need to be well. Emotionally, financially, physically, all the way around. But next week when I come on here and we talk about Wellness Wednesday, I am going to make the conversation more of a focus on being financially well. So I kind of tapped on that today, but next week's conversation, I'm going to talk more about what it actually means for us to be financially well. And like I shared, so it's being financially well is not the car you drive. It's not the red bottoms on your feet. And my dad comes from the wonderful world of high-end retail. So if he was on here hearing me say red bottoms, he would cringe, because he's like, they're not red bottoms. That's ghetto. They're Christian Louboutins, okay? So I want us to understand that. I want us to really come from that place of understanding what it is to be financially well. Because I think that's what a good component of this quarantine is teaching us, that we have to get our financial wellness in order, and what that really, really looks like. Not what we think we should make it look like to other people, but what it actually looks like. And it looks like when you retired, you can actually sit down and be retired. Now, if you choose to keep on working, because I have this theory in my head that I don't know that I would actually just, like, I can't watch soap operas. I can't. So what would I do in my retirement years? I think I still want to be somewhat active in the beauty industry, but I definitely don't want to be working from sun up to sun down. I had a coworker like that, and I was in my 20s. And so in my 20s, I was getting it. I had 2 shampoo assistants. I worked 7 days a week. I was not tired at the end of a day. I wasn't like beating myself up physically. I just had that drive and that ambition of that's what I wanted to do. But then I had a coworker, and that coworker at that time, I remember she was 66 years old, and she was working just as hard as me. And I said, I can't do this at 66. Not because, and I applauded her in that she had the stamina and the drive, because she wasn't broke down doing it. But I could not see myself at the age of 66 working that hard behind the chair. Like, I have to put myself in a different position. So it really made me think, and it really drove me to do the right thing. And it's one of those things that we have to think about what we're going to look like in the long haul. We have to think about who we really want to be when we grow up, not just where we are now. And that financial stability really, really is beneficial. But again, this is Wellness Wednesday. So Wellness Wednesday is my trichology conversation. And I share that because I am live on Facebook on my Naila Copeland page on Facebook. And I chose to go live on here because I have the larger audience here. But I encourage everybody to follow my Asha's Trichology page, because that's my normal platform for my Wellness Wednesday. So I'm live on Asha's Trichology on Instagram at the moment. But Texture Talk Tuesdays is my Asha's Hair Studio page. So we'll do that every Tuesday. The times, I'm going to vary them just because I know it's easier for some people at different times than others. And I don't just want to always just cater to just one time. Then on Mondays is our Motivational Mondays, and that's on my Asha's coaching page. And I really want that audience to be all of my creatives. I want it to be all of those in my industry, because I really want to talk to us about how we need to position ourselves in a much better position financially, all the way around from beginning to end. But I appreciate you guys for your time and for listening and just for being here. Hi, Dee. So, Dee, we need to get together. So let me just kind of rewind back a little bit. Like, D'Angela is like a really, 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 really special person to me, because I met her when I first moved to Georgia. And one of the very first salons that I worked in, we worked together, and we had an awesome salon family. Like, we were a nice close-knit group of stylists that worked together. And the lady who actually owned the salon there, yes, I love you too, Dee. She actually just passed last week, and very, very sad, but we got along so well. Like, we had a good time. And Dee was the stylist that pulled me to the side, because I'm fresh to Georgia. I'm green. So I don't come in and I don't rock boats. I come in and I observe what's going on so that I know how to position myself and what I need to do. So I'm in that place, and I got clients calling me left and right to get their hair done. And I got people sitting in my chair. But, I don't know how the Georgia prices work. I don't really know this whole ATL scene. And Dee pulled me to the side, and Dee was like, girl, let me tell you something. You're not going to let these clients get over on you. This is how you got to position yourself, and this is what you need to do, and this is what it is. And Dee would be like, hey, you braid? Like, I got a client that wants some braids, and you're not going to sit here and know this is... So Dee really, 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 really just... She's a phenomenal stylist, too. So then we had a proposition for us as the stylist to do some photo shoots, and so Dee was just like, whatever. So I was talking to the guy. So Dee said, you want to do a photo shoot? I was like, yeah, but do you think She was like, no, yeah, you should do it. She was like, all right. She said, if you want to do a photo shoot, then we all going to do a photo shoot. D hooked it up. We did a photo, like, we no longer had to go to the photo shoot. D made it so that the photo shoot came to us. Our whole salon did the shoot together. We all got to shoot. And from there, I was doing hair magazines left and right. And they were so much fun. And I wasn't sure if I even wanted to do that first shoot. But D was just like, you thinking about it? Then we going to do this. Let's do it. So I just love Dee so much. She's been a very positive influence on me in this whole ATL hair world that I've engulfed in. And I must say, like, moving to Georgia, you guys, was really not. My family moved here 2 years before me, and when they told me they was moving to Georgia, I was like, what? I'm like, oh no, I'm not moving there. And life put me in Georgia. And I mean, from day one, I had people calling me like, can you do my hair? And anybody who knows me knows, like, I've always wanted to do hair. Like, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So the hair world has been good to me here in Georgia, but it's also making sound decisions that's going to really enable you to be able to survive simple things as a quarantine. So it's something that we just really have to figure out what we need for our wellness. We have to figure out what it is we need to be content. Because sometimes it's not what you think it is. Like, sometimes we think it's people that's rubbing us the wrong way, or we think it's situations, and it's not. It's just that we're not content with ourselves. Ernest said, thank you, Dee, for helping my cousin. That's why I love Ernest. So it's what we have to figure out to really put ourselves in a position to where we can be content with ourselves. Even in a bad situation, we have to have a headspace that allows us to do that. And that's one of the things as hairstylists. I know people just think like, oh my goodness, you did a good job with my hair. Thank you. But like, doing hair is way more than that. Like, we have to wear y'all problems. We have to hear your problems. We have to be engrossed in a lot of different things that are emotionally and physically taxing at the end of the day. So for all of my creatives, like, we don't have the headspace to be in a bad space, unfortunately, because we always have to share ourselves with someone else. Like, that's what we do all day. I was talking to another hairstylist friend of mine one day, and she was really going through it. And I'm like, girl, let me tell you something. You encouraging to me because you a mom. And at the end of your long day, you got to go in the house to a child who don't know or care nothing about all the women that been stressing you out, or all of the stuff. Like, he needs you, and you are there for him. Because when I tell y'all, she pours into this boy to a place, like, if you met this child, you know how some kids, you just meet them and you like, okay, I know you got a good mama, because the way your line of thinking, your line of reasoning, like, nobody's just ignoring you at the end of the day. And I'm like, I get to shut the phone off. I cannot respond to a text. I can hang up on somebody if they are on my phone getting on my nerves. I could dismiss you in a minute. But I don't have to then have somebody else that I have to now pour into myself, and I'm already almost on E. So that is to be commended on a whole nother level. You guys just don't even understand. This was dope. Can't wait for the next one. We super dope. Thank you, Ernest. So I want you guys to just keep that in mind, what you need to operate for your own wellness. And next Wednesday, we're going to talk about how we're going to be, especially as a Black community. And I'm not just going to say only the Black community, but those underrated communities, those underdog communities of us as people, that it's just taking us a little bit more, and it's a little bit harder for us to become financially stable. So that's what I want us to think about for next Wednesday. Like, what do we need to be financially stable? Like, what does that look like? Like, how do I get to, and in your own space, don't make your dreams and your aspirations so big that it's like, unless you win the lottery, you're going to be able to obtain that. Think about what it is for where you are right now. what you have to do, what you really need to sustain yourself right this moment. But again, I encourage everybody to just do that soul searching for yourself. And I appreciate everyone's time. So have a good evening, and I will see you next week.